sound of my voice. Welcome back to the Umbrella Entertainment Radio channel. My name is 1T.R.E, and this is the 1T.R.E Radio Show. Now, the 1T.R.E Radio Show is dedicated to bringing you one true revolutionary, evolutionary thought processes. And of course, by that we mean, we thought with a basis. We start with that normal basis of thinking. That that we've all been programmed in a way of thinking. But we try to expand out of that and evolve out of that and go into something truly revolutionary. So, with that being said, let's pick back up and recap from our last show, the very first show of the 1T.R.E. Show number 2 here. And as we recap from the last time we spoke, we got together, we were just wrapping up how, we all maintain that spirit of God. And in all of us maintaining that spirit of God, I really find it a shame. It's just such a shame that, we resort to these minor infractions with each other. But we just have to call one another names on this planet, it seems. It's like, why can't we as man and woman just merely look at each other as these creations of God and respect each other as is? But never mind that. Let's continue on with the topic leading into the relationships, the modern and traditional aspects of relationships between man and woman. Now, I'm building on a premise here. And as I started, we started with the show number 1. The vanity of man, and we covered all those aspects as I spoke straight to and directly to men and just laid out a premise from personal experience and laid out a premise on top of that from more origin story, humanity type experience. And then we went into some relationship realms and ended it into more of a spirituality type of deal. So as we evolve, I'm just laying out all these elements to show you that there are layers to these adverse relationships that we are now experiencing between man and woman. There's just not one thing to point to. And that's really the culmination of what I'm trying all of you to see. So, as we continue on, I want to go into another aspect. And that aspect has to do with the concept of marriage. Now, the concept of marriage, as I just look into the research, the research I've derived from going into a more ancient historical view of marriage. Now, what I mean ancient historical view, I do not mean like in the last 50 to 100 years. I mean, I went back looking at this concept, from hundreds of years ago. And maybe even thousands, as I'm looking through some of the research I've obtained. It even pertains to ancient Egyptian practices. So, the concept of marriage, as what I could ascertain way prior to us being on the earth right now, this generation, it constituted the fact of two people bringing two family units together in order to create a sort of structure that was economically sound to where now the next generation, the offspring, if you will, of these generations, would not now have to repeat the same struggles of their parents, but they would start now from a more higher playing field that would allow them to now take their gathered knowledge and to continue expanding that over generations to come, leading into this mighty family unit. And as I look at that and I examine that concept, it's very contrary to more traditional modern concepts of marriage, where the whole thing is based upon the fact that you love, or you, air quotes, are in love with someone. And I use air quotes in that because in my mind, in my perception of love, you either love or you don't. The fact that this in love, sometimes it leads me to think that when people say that I'm in love, that now gives them license to, to act you know what I mean, in a way that they know is contrary to their standard, or contrary to what they know that their inner spirit is telling them not to do. And not to say that they aren't supposed to be doing those things, because I don't adhere to the certain terms as I don't supposed to, or the wrong place at the wrong time, because I adhere to everything happens for a reason. Your journey is your journey, and these are not mistakes. These are lessons for that individual. So the traditional marriage vows go sort of like, in the name of God, I take you to be my husband slash wife, or to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse. Well, we're going to stop right there. Now, for the millions of people, I believe, that have said those vows, and just that part, for better or for worse. Now, come on now. Who out here, under the sound of my voice, really want to make a pledge to somebody to be there through their worst? I mean, if you truly consciously in your mind, consciously just want to walk into that situation and say, because look at it like this. What if my worst is almost strangling you? What if my worst is almost killing you? What if my worst is, dare I say, doing things to our offspring that may not be the most high level things? You know, just that right there is just too big of a task. But let me continue on with these views. So, for better or for worse, we've covered that. For richer, for poor. All right. For richer or for poor. So, basically saying, if you don't have anything, or if you do have anything during the process of this, I'm still going to dedicate my loyalty to you and my body to you. And like I said, man, just looking out and about in the world today, that just seems like, who is doing that? And I mean, and all of the people who've said that, that's just an impossible task. Because what if we get to the point we're in a family and you are just frivolous with money, or you become an addict of some sorts, and you just take this family down to the point where we can't even support ourselves? Are you telling me I'm still gonna be there? I mean, consciously, who would want to walk into a situation like that? But hey, we'll continue. Like I said, for rich or for poor, in sickness and in health. You know what I mean? That's objective and subjective. So I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm just leave that there. Just leave that out there. To love, to cherish, till death do us part. Amen. Till death do us part is a very long time. Forever is a very long time. Forever, forever, ever. As the mighty quote goes, forever never seems that long until you're grown. And that grown for me is not simply a physical thing. I mean, when one definitely looks within themselves and really realize what this life is, and recognizes that, like I say, that we're all on this specific journey. Your forever and my forever are two different things. In my journey, who knows where the path may lead? And if you fit that path, you're going to attract me to you. And if I fit that path, I'm going to attract you to me. So, back to now, like I said, this new modern concept in relationships, how we base this on love. And contrary to that ancient historical aspect, where the business of marriage seemed to be more of a concern. And I say that again, the business of marriage. And people might say, hey, what's the business of marriage? And that's where we go wrong, because we go into this love thing and nobody really want to consider the business of marriage. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, I am in a relationship with a young lady. And in the business of that, yes, I know that that young lady needs resources. I need resources. We need resources. We need to accomplish certain things. And if I'm not consciously involved with her and we're not actually planning and we're not actually accounting for these things in a high level way, because we are the higher evolved species of the earth, if I'm not actively doing that and looking at the world in a real way and being accountable for my actions, whether financial or spiritual or educational, whatever it may be, how can I expect, you know what I mean, any fruitfulness to that? But I want to kind of just set that topic right there as far as the marriage and the forever bond, because I think we're going to circle back around to that, you know what I mean? But I want to sort of segue back into addressing my fellow men. And my fellow men, what I think we really need to do as a whole, as a united front, we definitely need to get back to the infrastructure of the brotherhood being repaired. What I mean by that is this. There's a lot of, like I said, finger pointing at women, and we'll use certain words like, oh, we'll call women catty, or we'll say certain things like women can't get along with women. You know what I mean? Or we'll point that finger like, we'll say that men, you know what I mean, we're more sociable when it comes to being in social settings with other men, and we can adapt more with men in social settings and in business settings, as opposed to like women, they can't. You know what I mean? That's an implied type of notion, you know what I mean, that's out there. And to my fellow men, what I like to say is, man, we need to be back to being more concerned with the business of building the infrastructure of the brotherhood of men, to the point where our loyalty to one another needs to supersede our carnal, natural instinct to just ravage when it comes to women. For instance, let me give an example. Whether a man is married to a woman, or whether that man is just in a relationship with that woman, and they're perceived to be monogamous, or you as a man that this woman is spoken for and is in a relationship with another man. Now, yes, we live in a world where sexuality, everyone is free to explore their sexuality and be free. But we men, we definitely are very disrespectful. We will know, and we will glamorize rap songs or any type of music where the flaunting of being with another guy's lady is just so it's just like it's a badge of honor. Yeah, I this with your girl. Yeah, your BM is over here. It's like, what is the big badge of honor by saying that you did that? There is no badge of honor. The more badge of honor would be saying, you know me, I know that you are this young man's, or this my fellow male brethren's lady. You're in a relationship with this man. And I see that you may be attracting me, but to respect my brother, or to respect my fellow man, I'm going to not want to partake in this type of sexual exploitation with you, simply to satisfy my pleasure sensor. I'd rather respect my brother in knowing that even though you may take a liking to me, I'd rather you dispose of that situation totally before you come hither. Now, where the brothers at that doing that? Where the brothers at that are speaking in that type of language, you know what I mean? Or even another example. What about the guy who yeah, he may be dating a lady here and dating a lady there. And what if in that situation that guy was to also not just seek sensual pleasure, but he actually wanted to enrich those ladies, right? He actually wanted to see those ladies doing better in their lives. So he offered an educational, spiritual aspect to his to his relationships with these women. Instead of just having these women for pleasure items. Now, of course, if that's what a person wants to offer themselves to do, of course, yes. But my point is, men, if we really want to be looked at as the leaders, and as the high evolved species of this earth, come on, man. We just can't operate in that carnal, low energy. You know what I mean? I dare say, as I give another example, what if you are a man out here, right? And what if a woman was to come to you? Or just paint the scenario with like the multitude of men out here, right? And there were these sect of women who really just wanted to get out here and just have their way and have sex with men. But the men, they took their seed in a high regard. And they took their bodies in a high regard. And you're like, simply because you want to have sex with me, it's not enough. What I want to do, I want to bond with you spiritually, young lady. You know what I mean? I want to talk to the God in you. You call yourself a queen. I want to talk to the queen in you then. You call yourself gorgeous. You call yourself beautiful. Let me talk to that beautiful, gorgeous side of you. And in return, if I can't talk to that side, then I really don't want to talk to any side. Because, yes, another phrase that I take from my education and tutelage as a man that I agree from religious quotes is, when I was a child, I thought as a child. But as I evolved into a man, I left childish things behind. So, like I said, our journey is our journey. But it begins to me to the point, you know what I mean? I was a young man, like I said, I explored the world. And in my age, as I got into those mid-30s, it's like, how much enjoyment does one need from that? I mean, how many times is that really? And I think because we've got in our mind embedded as men that every time is proving a masculinity inside us some sort of way, or sometimes we've conquered something in some sort of way that it matters or it counts to us. But it really doesn't matter. You know what I mean? The amount of bodies that you can say you inserted yourself into. But how about the amount of lives that you changed? How about the amount of lives that you can inspire? What about that? So, like I said, man, as men, I feel like we need to just stop pointing the finger, trying to ridicule our counterpart. They have their own issues that they must work out amongst themselves. But the conversation, I feel like in the modern relationship realm, if men are going to be doing videos and podcasts, we need to be getting back to the infrastructure of building a solid brotherhood amongst our men. Like I said, man, where is the man out here that'll that'll say, you know what I mean, let's start a group. You guys, we're not going to be out here entertaining prostitutes. How about that? You know what I mean? It's nothing wrong. If a woman wants to go sell her body to make money, go ahead. But the scenario, what I think in this modern world, women have figured out, for a lot of part, you know, and men will label women as prostitutes because of the way they dress, right? Or men will label women sluts and whores, or just ladies of the night, or unscrupulous characters for items of clothing that they wear. But like I said, man, as I look at ancient historical times and I research and I do my due diligence, I discover a time when there were men in a land called Africa that they could be around women that were totally nude. There was a time when women could be in the village amongst communities and families and be bare naked and didn't have to worry about being ravaged by these crazy men because they were just so enamored by the woman's body that they could not control their loins and not realize that I'm just not merely a carnal, animalistic man. I am a highly evolved human being created by God to rule and create on this earth. And I say all that to say, because like I say, men, as men, we want to poke fun at women, look at the way they dress and the way they do their thing. And you mean to tell me there was a time when men could be around totally nude women and still carry themselves in a more respectable way? But you mean to tell me because a woman has on a tight-fitting outfit, and it's been said that because she's got on that, because she dresses like that, that now she wants you to be in a sexual way with her? No, no. What I think that modern women and maybe even traditional women have figured out is that you type men who get all wrapped up in the trappings and the wrappings of what a woman has on, you type men, you actually like that. And when they put that on and they go out, yeah, they're gonna get them might get a free tank of gas that day. They might even, when they sit down at the bar, guess what? You're gonna run up there and you're gonna, hey baby girl, let me buy you a couple of drinks, and you're gonna chatter up and do all of this good, you know what I mean, role playing that society has, you know what I mean, constituted as the thing to do when you meet women. But in return, she just understanding that, you know what I mean, you're just responding to sexual stimuli. You're just responding to pleasure sensors. You truly do not have her best interest in mind. You know what I mean? So it's almost like she just playing the game, because in actuality, she may not even have sex that whole day. She may not even have sex that whole month. But you, because you're so wrapped up in the trappings and the wrappings of a woman and what she has on, you just get lost. Not understanding, like I said, that that type of attitude and that type of mentality definitely plants a seed over a period of time. And I definitely think it lends to why now in this society where we have all of this advanced technology and we're living very, very much sophisticated, it lends to the ideal and the thought that where women would say, well, I don't need a man. Because simply, you know what I mean? Anybody can pay bills, right? A simple job can get you to pay bills. And as the statistics show, you know what I mean, women lead college graduates and going to school and doing all that good stuff. And even if the job does pay, let's say $40,000, $50,000 a year, let's say $60,000 to $70,000 a year, whatever the case may be, anybody can pay bills. Gathering with a partner to do something on a more higher mental level, I think is being overlooked. I think one of the major disadvantages of it being overlooked is that, as I was stating prior, these two gods, two counterparts, male and female, they can come together, and the opportunities are endless once they put their minds together. I mean, absolutely, totally endless. Myself personally, on my own, and also with the company of my significant other, I've accomplished things, man, that as a younger man, I never ever even dreamed that I could accomplish. And all those things, as I'm pointing out in my mind right now, they're not necessarily all related to finance. A lot of these achievements are related to just actual personality traits and morals and breaking old thinking and how I can speak things into existence now. You know what I mean? Simply by a spirit of attracting and recognizing that God and everything that entity we call God is working towards my good. And that belief forms my reality. And therefore my reality in front of me is not the same reality as a person who, or another man who may look at a young lady and he may, you know what I mean, only be looking at her to seek pleasure. As opposed to looking at a young lady and understanding that not only are you both the embodiment of this entity we call God, but like I said, you can do anything you set your mind to. And you mean to tell me the only thing as a man in this world that we can think to do with women on a high level is just have sex? And that everything about a woman and everything about her character, everything about her magnificent makeup is disregarded if she doesn't behave a certain way in the sexual realm. And thus I say, we being the leaders, the men, if we took sex so seriously, if we really took that sexual aspect of life so seriously, I mean, why don't we guard our loins and our seed the same exact way? In a very serious, purpose-driven way. Because dare I say, in your younger years, let's say from your teen years, let's just say to your late 20s, as I was referring to earlier, how much sexual pleasure does it take for you to now understand what sex is about and basically what goes on? And what happens is a lot of the times it starts with the education, okay? The educational process of it all. Which leads me to that next pillar. Because, just to go back and recap a little bit, what I mean, from this whole discussion, like I said, it was building on itself and it's going to continue to build. We started, like I said, in the first episode, the vanity of man, where we talked about how, like I said, I spoke directly to men, and I was just going into all the vain and the ego aspects and digging into my personal experience, and then taking it into like origin stories. And you know what I mean, a lot of those things may or may not be based in religious aspects. Just throwing that out there. And then we took it up into the concept of marriage. And all of these levels, like I said, I'm trying to bring all of these different aspects and elements together to culminate into something that we see like, oh my God, where are we? How have we been so lost with all of these societal just roles that we've been accustomed and programmed to play through, of course, that media that's been programming us. But of course, inside of us, like I said, there's a true God that's waiting to come out. So back to those elements and those layers that I've been laying out, like I say, ending at the aspect of marriage. And now let's go into this whole educational aspect, right? Oh, yes, education. Education. Let's look at it. Well, you know what? I'm going to save education for show number 3. Yeah, show number 3 of the 1T.R.E show. We're going to start out with that pillar of education. Yeah, because I believe that's really it all starts there. You know what I mean? As I spoke of, you know what I mean, my upbringing. And I'm sure the upbringing of a lot of young men was the education The education was not spearheaded in the right way. And dare I say, even young women, I mean, I'm not going to leave them out of this conversation. I'm just speaking directly to my men. Because like I said, a lot of times I feel the men spend too much time speaking to the women when we want to speak to ourselves. You know, iron sharpens iron. You know what I mean? We want to keep each other sharp, don't we? Like I said, man, my whole purpose for this is not to sit here and try to create an issue. You know what I mean? Oftentimes, I see too many times a lot of a lot of content creators. You know what I mean? They want to get into the mess. You know what I mean? They want to get into the fury, or they want to get into the fury of just negativity and negative comments. Because I mean, who are we fooling? Negative energy drives a lot of people. You know what I mean? I would say it drives the majority at times. You know what I mean? But my conscious mind and my subconscious mind leads to tell me that that's really not true. I really believe at the core of all of us, the majority of us, you know what I mean? We want to see a positive outcome. We want to see, you know what I mean, the opportunity to break old chains and to reveal ourselves and to be the best selves that we truly are. So, like I said, show number 3. We're gonna start off about education, and we're gonna delve into that pillar, and we're gonna continue on to maybe 1 or 2 more pillars. You know what I mean? I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna gauge it all right now, but I'm telling you, it's gonna be thought provoking, and it's gonna be truly revolutionary, evolutionary thought process going on. So, to all my people out there, man, I just want to say thank you for tuning in to another episode of the 1T.R.E Show. Tune in and hear it on YouTube again to see us right here on the Umbrella Entertainment Radio channel. And I guarantee we're going to keep it truly revolutionary, evolutionary, thought-provoking. Let's go.